There are cars that look forward, and there are cars that seem to arrive from the future itself. Vehicles that redefine what progress feels like, not just what it looks like. They question the ordinary, bending expectations until function and imagination meet in a single, confident shape. Imagine a machine that turns smoothness into its signature, comfort into art, and design into quiet rebellion. This story is about one such car. A symbol of engineering philosophy so advanced it felt more like science fiction than transportation. Before we dive in, hit like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments which classic machine you want to see next. The Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 was more than a replacement for a beloved icon. It was a declaration that innovation could not be retired. When it arrived, Citroën was emerging from a decade of daring experiments and near financial collapse. The DS had made the company a legend of design and comfort, but also left enormous expectations in its wake. To follow a car that had already rewritten the rules of motoring, the CX had to feel both inevitable and impossible. Familiar in its confidence yet completely alien in its execution. The Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 became the car that dared to occupy that paradox. It began with the silhouette, low, tapered, and aerodynamic in a time when boxy sedans still ruled the streets. The CX name itself referenced coefficient of drag, a numerical nod to airflow efficiency. The body flowed from a sharp nose to a graceful tail, a teardrop sculpted not for vanity but for speed and stability. Citroën engineers spent countless hours perfecting the underbody channels, wheel fairings, and roof curvature to minimize resistance. This was not mere styling. It was a philosophy of motion where form always served physics. Inside, the Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 carried that same obsession with human-machine harmony. The cockpit curved toward the driver like the console of an aircraft. Every dial, switch, and gauge was placed within natural reach, eliminating distraction. The GTI variant added a digital speedometer, rare for its time, and a cluster that glowed softly in the dark. A futuristic promise that driving could feel like piloting. Under the hood, the 2400 GTI featured a fuel-injected 2.4-liter inline-4, delivering a smooth 128 horsepower. Numbers alone could not capture the experience. What mattered was the seamless surge of power delivered through Citroën's hydro-pneumatic suspension system. The ride was unlike anything else on the road. It floated, glided, and self-leveled with eerie precision, maintaining constant ride height no matter the load. Passengers often described the sensation as traveling on air, because in a literal sense, they were. The system used compressed nitrogen and hydraulic fluid to isolate the cabin from imperfections in the pavement, creating a sense of serenity unknown in most cars of the era. Steering was another revelation. The Diravi system, unique to Citroën, gave variable power assistance that adjusted with speed. At parking speeds, the wheel could be turned with a fingertip. On the highway, it firmed up to deliver stability and control. The self-centering behavior meant the wheel returned perfectly to straight after each maneuver, giving the impression that the car anticipated the driver's intent. It was so smooth and direct that some first-time users found it uncanny. Yet once mastered, it felt like an extension of thought rather than movement. The Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 was not just technologically advanced, it embodied an attitude. While other manufacturers chased horsepower or luxury through excess, Citroën pursued serenity through science. It treated comfort as a performance metric, elevating ride quality to a form of engineering art. Critics sometimes called it eccentric or overly complex, but that was part of its allure. This was a machine that refused compromise, one that measured success not by convention but by innovation. Inside its quiet cabin, the world outside seemed to fade away, replaced by a sense of effortless progress. Every journey felt like a demonstration of what refinement could mean when imagination guided design. The materials were not lavish in the traditional sense, but the ergonomics were far ahead of their time. The one-spoke steering wheel offered better instrument visibility. The rear hatchback provided utility without breaking the car's sleek lines. The Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 balanced aesthetics and practicality in ways few sedans dared to attempt. Its goal was not to imitate rivals but to reinvent what a grand touring car could be. The GTI badge added a subtle layer of sportiness. It hinted that behind the composure lay energy ready to be released. When pressed, The engine responded with dignified urgency rather than aggression. Long highway drives became effortless, even meditative. The aerodynamic body cut through air quietly, conserving fuel while maintaining pace. To drive it was to experience engineering that sought harmony, not confrontation. It was this sense of calm advancement that defined the CX's character. It represented a different path for progress, one that valued intelligence over intensity. For the driver who appreciated refinement through innovation, the Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 offered something close to automotive enlightenment. The balance between performance, comfort, and design turned it from a product into an idea. An exploration of how far a brand could go in pursuit of perfection through originality. By the time the Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 reached its stride, it had already proven that innovation could coexist with practicality. Yet behind its grace lay a story of risk, persistence, and evolution. Citroën had faced immense pressure after its merger with Peugeot in the mid-1970s. Survival depended on balancing creativity with cost. The CX became a test case of whether the company could retain its identity under new corporate structure. The 2400 GTI variant symbolized that delicate balance. A car engineered with the ambition of independence but produced under the realities of partnership. Every component reflected that tension. The hydropneumatic suspension remained untouched, a sacred element of the brand's DNA, while the powertrain was refined to deliver reliability for a wider market. The Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 became the brand's ambassador of modernity. Its aerodynamic form acted as both innovation showcase and business necessity. Inside the design studios, engineers sought to push boundaries without losing sight of function. The goal was to make advanced technology feel intuitive rather than intimidating. To achieve that, they refined the self-leveling suspension for smoother transitions and recalibrated the Duravi steering for broader driver acceptance. Citroën understood that complexity needed clarity. The CX 2400 GTI became the platform to prove that futuristic ideas could feel natural. For those behind the wheel, this car offered sensations found nowhere else. On rough roads, the suspension quietly adapted, absorbing dips and bumps before the driver even noticed them. Corners felt seamless. The car's weight shifted like a living organism, guided by invisible logic. At speed, the aerodynamic stability was remarkable. Crosswinds that would unsettle most sedans barely touched it. Drivers could maintain long journeys with minimal fatigue. The car seemed to glide with composure that inspired confidence. These qualities built a loyal following of enthusiasts who valued sophistication over spectacle. The Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 appealed to thinkers more than thrill seekers. It was a car that encouraged calm precision. Every input had purpose, every motion had grace. It rewarded those who appreciated subtlety. The quiet rise of the suspension on ignition, the soft hum of the engine settling into rhythm, the tactile feel of the uniquely shaped controls. It was driving as sensory craft, rather than mechanical contest. The technology underpinning the CX's abilities was both brilliant and demanding. The hydropneumatic system required dedicated maintenance. It was not for the indifferent owner. But for those who cared, it delivered an experience unmatched by any rival. Citroën engineers accepted the trade-off. Complexity was the price of originality. The 2400 GTI's innovations extended beyond ride quality. Its braking system, powered by the same hydraulic network, offered instant response with minimal pedal travel. The car stopped with the same controlled smoothness it exhibited in motion. Safety and comfort were treated as two sides of the same coin. The interior continued to push boundaries. Asymmetrical dashboards, intuitive switch pods, and the signature single-spoke steering wheel reflected a worldview where design served ergonomics. Even details like the panoramic rear window were shaped by aerodynamic logic. Nothing existed by accident. The Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 became a rolling manifesto of functional beauty. Its styling aged gracefully because it was born from physics rather than fashion. Wind tunnel refinement gave it an advantage in efficiency, while its long wheelbase granted both space and poise. These attributes made it a preferred choice for diplomats and executives who valued distinction without ostentation. It projected confidence through restraint. Yet, in the showroom, it was misunderstood by some. Drivers accustomed to conventional controls found the CX alien. its steering self-centered with uncanny speed. Its brake pedal felt more like a pressure plate than a lever. To appreciate it required adaptation and trust. But once mastered, it redefined expectations. Citroën engineers knew this and did little to compromise. They were not designing for the masses, but for those ready to experience a new interpretation of motion. In that sense, the CX-2400 GTI 1980 carried the same revolutionary DNA as the DS before it. Both cars asked drivers to unlearn habits and embrace new logic. That courage gave Citroën its cult following. Within design circles, the CX became a benchmark for aerodynamic aesthetics. Industrial designers studied its silhouette. Its purity influenced furniture, architecture, and even electronics. It represented a period when industrial design was not about showing power but achieving balance. The 2400 GTI embodied that ethos perfectly. Under the corporate radar, it quietly became a symbol of how visionary thinking could survive within a larger industrial framework. It proved that even under economic pressure, artistry could persist if supported by conviction. The car's legacy inside Citroën was profound. It reinforced the belief that engineering excellence could be poetic. The 2400 GTI model, in particular, became a reference point for how technology could serve emotion. Its influence extended beyond its lifespan, inspiring future models to pursue elegance through efficiency rather than extravagance. The Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 had evolved into more than transportation. It had become philosophy rendered in steel and hydraulics. Its presence on the road was a statement that progress could be both human and mechanical in perfect harmony. The Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 did not simply reach the end of its production cycle. It transcended its own era. By the mid-1980s, its role had shifted from innovator to icon, yet its engineering still felt decades ahead. Many who experienced it firsthand realized that its design principles had laid the groundwork for the brand's future identity. Every line of its body, every movement of its suspension, carried intention. It was not a car built for nostalgia, but for continuity. The Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 demonstrated how progress could evolve without abandoning its origins. The DS had introduced comfort as a virtue. The CX perfected it into science. Through refinement rather than reinvention, Citroën proved that the pursuit of innovation was not about spectacle but about coherence. Even as competitors focused on horsepower races or digital novelties, the CX quietly shaped the philosophy of future automotive design. Aerodynamics became mainstream. Ergonomics became expected. Suspension sophistication became the measure of premium engineering. What once seemed eccentric became standard practice across the industry. The car's legacy was not just that it existed, but that it predicted what would matter. Owners often spoke of the feeling the CX 2400 GTI delivered. Serenity without detachment. It made driving effortless yet engaging, calm yet alert. That quality of controlled freedom reflected Citroën's deeper understanding of what a driver truly seeks. The future of motoring, as envisioned by this car, was not about dominance but ease. Not about status but experience. The car became a lens through which the modern era of ride comfort and aerodynamic discipline was viewed. Its influence extended into digital era concepts of user interface design. The interior layout of the Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980, with its intuitive clustering and driver-focused ergonomics, anticipated the cockpit philosophies of later decades. Even the single-spoke wheel, controversial in its day, influenced later minimalist steering concepts. Each design element embodied the belief that simplicity could convey intelligence. Long after production ceased, the CX continued to serve as an inspiration for engineers and designers seeking authenticity. Preservation societies formed, dedicated to maintaining its intricate hydraulic systems and restoring its distinctive profile. To them, the CX 2400 GTI was not a relic. It was a promise kept. They saw in it a bridge between analog craftsmanship and digital precision. Its hydro-pneumatic suspension, though mechanical, behaved like software, self-correcting, adaptive, and anticipatory. The Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 demonstrated that engineering could emulate empathy. It responded to the world around it with grace, filtering out imperfections and leaving only the sensation of continuity. That ability to translate technology into comfort defined its spirit. The car also left cultural footprints. It appeared in European films as the car of choice for characters who valued intellect over aggression. Individuals who operated quietly yet decisively. The CX became shorthand for modern sophistication without excess. It appealed to those who saw automobiles not as trophies but as instruments of expression. The understated luxury of the GTI model reinforced that ideal. It communicated success through restraint, elegance through silence. Its long, flowing roofline still looks futuristic today because it was never constrained by trends. Citroën designers in the 1970s had imagined airflow as sculpture. They created a shape that could belong to any decade. That is why the CX 2400 GTI 1980 continues to attract admiration among collectors and historians. It embodies the moment when design and engineering met in perfect equilibrium. It was radical without being reckless, bold without arrogance. Its significance is not measured in units sold, but in ideas seeded. Those ideas continue to influence electric vehicles and autonomous concepts that seek similar fluidity and calm. The essence of what made the CX extraordinary, its focus on reducing driver stress and maximizing sensory harmony, remains deeply relevant. The car's story reminds us that progress in mobility is not about speed alone. It is about how technology can make motion feel natural. The Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 taught the industry that comfort is not luxury's opposite but its foundation. Its hydropneumatic principles live on in adaptive suspensions and predictive systems that read the road ahead. Its aerodynamic logic guides every sleek contour drawn today. The future that the CX imagined is now the present we take for granted. What once seemed radical has become the standard of excellence. That enduring influence ensures that the car's name remains more than historical. The Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 continues to represent the moment when a manufacturer chose creativity over conformity and, in doing so, changed the trajectory of automotive thought. Its success was not measured in market share but in imagination's reach. A vehicle that transformed the concept of what a grand touring sedan could be, and in the process, ensured the DS legacy would never fade. The Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 remains one of the most convincing arguments that innovation and elegance can share the same purpose. Looking back, its achievement feels almost improbable. At a time when the automotive world was tightening budgets and simplifying designs, Citroën dared to pursue complexity in the name of comfort. The result was not extravagance but harmony. Every component of the CX 2400 GTI existed to serve a unified vision of motion refined to its purest form. That commitment gave the car its lasting identity. It was the point where the brand's experimental past met its pragmatic future. What the Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 taught is that technology only matters when it improves the experience of living with it. Its suspension was not created to impress but to relieve. Its design was not sculpted for attention, but for efficiency. In that sense, it was more than a car. It was philosophy translated into engineering. Even now, it invites comparison with vehicles that claim modern sophistication yet often lack its coherence. The CX achieved something timeless because it approached comfort not as luxury, but as responsibility. The idea that a machine could anticipate human needs and respond in real time was visionary in 1980. Today, it defines automotive intelligence. By pushing boundaries of aerodynamics, hydraulics, and ergonomics, Citroën reached an understanding few manufacturers have matched. Progress means empathy. The Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 continues to stand as proof that innovation guided by empathy never goes out of style. It carried the DS legacy forward not by copying its form, but by preserving its courage. It showed that true successors do not imitate. They evolve. For enthusiasts, the CX remains an experience that cannot be replicated. The feeling of gliding silently across uneven pavement, the precision of its self-centering steering, and the elegance of its interior design combine into something close to mechanical poetry. It represents the rare intersection of art and engineering, the moment when imagination became tangible. The CX 2400 GTI did not just answer the question of what came after the DS. It posed a new one. How far could comfort and design be pushed before they became indistinguishable? In that pursuit, it became timeless. Every generation of automotive thinkers owes something to its courage. The Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 stands as a reminder that the future often begins quietly. Not with noise but with clarity of purpose. It did not shout innovation. It whispered it with confidence. That whisper still echoes in the hum of today's most advanced cars. If progress is measured by how naturally technology serves humanity, then few machines have ever embodied that balance as perfectly. The legacy of the Citroën CX 2400 GTI 1980 endures because it understood something simple yet profound. The most futuristic car is the one that still feels right decades later.